Okay.
Architects are strange
So,
people,
on this
strange animals.
It's with great pleasure I present you with the Pritzker Prize.
His project is the biggest news of wherever it is.
Nouvel is a star in the world of architecture.
Designed by Jean Nouvel. 53 West 53.
53 West 53.
53 West 53.
I tried to play with the idea of a needle.
Supposed to rival the Empire State Building at 1,250 feet.
Which is precisely what bothers some people. I mean, for people who reacted negatively to the tower, it seemed arrogant.
The city council finally gave the go-ahead to build, but only if Nouvel chops 200 feet off the top.
It's very French to cut the head, huh? Guillotine.
Fairly small site right next to the MoMA on 53rd Street in Manhattan.
They demolished American Folk Art Museum for the expansion of Museum of Modern Art right next to it.
Did you know 53 West 53 sits on not one, but 3 zoning districts? That's a challenge.
New York, c'était pour moi comme 3 coups de pinceau. Un coup de pinceau noir, un coup de pinceau argent, et un coup de pinceau plutôt or pâle.
That's maybe his greatest strength of all, is the ability to be bold and delicate at the same time.
Chaque projet est une aventure, est une passion. La grande tentation, c'est de plonger dedans.
A troubled start. 53 West 53rd story begins with the land it sits on. It is a 17,000 square foot lot owned by the Museum of Modern Art, or MoMA. It needed to expand to house a collection that had grown to 100,000 pieces of art. That's why in January 2007, MoMA made a pivotal move, selling the West 53rd Street plot to developer Gerald D. Hines for $125 million. Hines' firm had co-built Salesforce Tower in San Francisco. MoMA was confident the developer would do their land justice. MoMA's only condition? Save a spot for their museum. But this was the easy bit. 53 West 53rd had more challenges to come. Challenge 1. Postage stamp size lot. Land is scarce in the Big Apple, and the lot available to build the massive 53 West 53rd? 17,713 square feet. An average football field is 57,600 square feet, so this lot is less than a third of its size. And in this narrow space, Hines had the grand ambition to build a superstructure.
Fairly small site right next to the MoMA on 53rd Street in Manhattan.
Solution?
We selected Jean Nouvel to design the building because he is one of the greatest living architects working in the world today.
My buildings are more famous than me.
Your buildings are more famous than you. You like it that way?
I like that, yes.
It's with great pleasure I present you with the Pritzker Prize.
Jean Nouvel, a French Pritzker Prize winning architect. For Nouvel, this project is a chance to prove himself. A tower in New York City is a feather in any architect's cap.
L'inspiration, elle est liée à ses spécificités, justement. Elle est liée au fait qu'on est à New York. Je voulais un immeuble new-yorkais.
Nouvel is known for bold, unconventional projects like Torre Glories in Barcelona, Louvre Abu Dhabi in UAE, and Doha Tower in Qatar. Nouvel's initial design showed the building standing 1,250 feet, 381 meters tall as the Empire State Building below its mast. Challenge 2. An overly ambitious tower. Nouvel's ambitious plan had its fair share of critics. In March 2008, Manhattan's Community Board 5, which oversaw the site, voted overwhelmingly to kill Hines and Nouvel's plan. The board urged the Landmarks Preservation Commission to block this transfer of air rights. Why? 3 reasons. 1. The design clashed with the neighborhood. 2. The development would strain existing infrastructure. State Senator Liz Kruger said, "A building of this size will overwhelm the area's infrastructure. The sewer system and existing infrastructure is not adequate to handle a project of this size." 3. Shadows over Central Park. There was significant conversation around the shadows cast on Central Park by these super talls, a representative for CB5, John Mills, demanded that the EIS must include a study of the shadows cast into Central Park. On September 9th, 2009, the City Planning Commission offered a compromise. The tower could rise only if it lost 200 feet in height.
You made a gesture like this. Did you feel like cut off your head?
It's very French to cut the head, huh?
Hines and Nouvel weren't pleased. Neither were the tower's supporters. One supporter, Justin Davidson of New York Magazine, said, "The inspiring arrogance of Nouvel's tower should never have been quashed by timorous bureaucrats." For Nouvel, the battle was lost. For the project to survive, he had to cut the tower down. This new version of the tower was approved by the New York City Council on October 28, 2009, in a 44-3 vote.
After the cancellation of 60 meters, we had to restart. We changed the technique also. It was in steel, and now it's concrete.
In the same year, Hines bought 136,000 square feet of air rights from the University Club. Hines had purchased all required air rights by 2009, but there was no tower until 2013. Why? Challenge number 3, financial troubles. Think of the timeline here. Initial plans for 53 West 53rd were announced in 2007. The city granted approval in 2009. The timing was awful. This was precisely when the Great Recession had wrecked the real estate development industry. Banks were extremely risk-averse and reluctant to dole out big loans.
It's those big corporate institutions that are most directly impacted by the bankruptcies.
Investment in luxury real estate nearly came to a standstill during the recession. For 4 years, the lot at 53 West 53rd Street sat largely dormant. While Hines had the permission to build, he did not have the capital. Solution? Salvation came from half a world away. Singapore-based Pontiac Land Group stepped in with fresh capital and poured about $250 million into the project.
At the Pontiac Land Group, we pride ourselves on having created a building that truly embodies the essence of a 5-star hotel within the comfort and luxury of your own home.
Pontiac also secured another $860 million loan from multiple powerful Asian banks. But there was one more problem. Challenge number 4, a cultural crime. Standing right next to the 53 West 53rd's empty lot was the American Folk Art Museum. And it wasn't just any building. Opened in 2001, it was a modern architectural masterpiece, designed by the acclaimed husband and wife team Todd Williams and Billy Tizien.
So it was very much about a physical, understanding things through physical language, not necessarily understanding things through drawings or details.
Its handcrafted bronze-paneled facade was celebrated as a work of art in itself. But in 2011, MoMA, as part of its own expansion plan tied to the tower, had acquired the building. Unfortunately, integrating the AFAM into the new design proved structurally impossible. The solution? Demolition. An institution dedicated to preserving art was about to destroy a 13-year-old masterpiece. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Esteemed architectural critic Martin Filler, writing for the New York Review of Books, said,
"The tragic turn of events on 53rd Street is nothing less than cultural vandalism."
MoMA ultimately decided to demolish the museum.
Image of the Folk Art Museum facade, which is no longer around. What we liked about that is that, I liked the fact that a child would want to put their fingers in that facade. A bird would want to nest in the facade.
Challenge number 5. In the crosshairs of 3 zones. Turns out 53 West 53rd doesn't sit in just one zoning district, it straddles 3. C5P, FAR of 8, standard to maintain the scale of historic areas. C5 2.5, FAR of 12, a standard commercial district. C6-6, FAR of 15, suitable for high-density commercial district. This wasn't just about total size, it was about shape. Each of these districts had its own setback requirements, designed specifically to ensure New York streets still get some sunlight. Jean Nouvel had to design a single, cohesive building that simultaneously obeyed different sets of rules. And Nouvel's solution for this? Well, he was excited about this. He respected zoning laws because they worked.
Je termine en fait par 3 plans qui, dans le skyline de New York, c'était pour moi comme 3 coups de pinceau. Un coup de pinceau noir, un coup de pinceau argent et un coup de pinceau or, plutôt or pâle.
The iconic glass shard design towering over Midtown Manhattan was not a compromise, but an ingenious workaround. Award-winning engineering marvel. Building in New York is always riddled with challenges, and building 53 West 53rd required tackling every challenge one step at a time. Number 1, foundation. Manhattan is blessed with excellent bedrock, but Heinz and Nouvel seem to be haunted by a serious case of bad luck. Geotechnical surveys showed that there was an ancient underground stream that had weakened a section of the bedrock. It was too fragile to support the weight of the tower.
Buildings are going to get built. We just have to figure out how exactly to do it.
To address this, engineers drilled 33 massive caissons that were 3 feet in diameter. On top of this foundation, they poured a thick concrete mat for stability. The perfect base for a modern super tall. Number 2, building on a postage stamp size lot. The next challenge was to use the 17,000 square foot footprint effectively. Traditionally, skyscrapers have a massive central core to support the structure, but that concrete core can take up a lot of space that Nouvel didn't have. That's not all. Views are currency in NYC. Nouvel had to ensure every unit offered uninterrupted views of the Central Park.
Jean Nouvel knew exactly how to set that tone with every little detail.
The solution had 3 key components. 1, a diagrid system, a series of steel and concrete columns that formed an intricate exoskeleton for the building. This spiderweb network supports the building and its glass curtain wall. The structural beams converge at massive nodal junctions made of steel and reinforced concrete, strong, intricate, and essential for stability.
When you get out there, these 6 bars have to match up pretty much exactly with 6 bars coming up out of the concrete. Accuracy and precision is paramount to having these connections work.
53 West's diagrid structure efficiently distributes wind loads down through its network of angled columns. This is inherently more resistant to bending and twisting than a building with a simple internal core. 2, outrigger floors. They connect the diagrid to a central core.
Outriggers that are going in both directions, tying them together. So we have massive 2 feet thick walls with a tremendous amount of reinforcing steel.
The floors stiffened the building by 15%, making it even more stable. 3, the tuned mass damper. 53 West 53rd was extremely slender with a ratio of 12:1. The diagrid system simply wasn't enough. So, the engineers installed a massive 650-ton tuned mass damper to counter the wind-induced sway. All of these elements combined created a super steady super tall, but the iconic tower didn't perform as well as Heinz Nouvel hoped. Sales nightmare. Listings for units started appearing in September 2015, ranging from $3 million to $70 million. But by 2019, only 15% of the 145 apartments had been sold. Interest was low, even with direct access to MoMA's gallery and 15,000 square feet of luxury amenities. In early 2019, Heinz Pontiac Land Group and Goldman Sachs found themselves in a pricing dispute. Their projected sellout price for all of the apartments was initially $2.14 billion, but it had to be lowered to $1.98 billion. Why? The demand for luxury condos had dropped, and people worried that the tower's dramatic diagrid design might obstruct some views from inside the units. They couldn't come to an agreement, but building activities continued. From June to October 2019, MoMA temporarily closed to complete its new gallery space at the tower's base. By February 2020, all construction was complete and sales finally began to trickle in. That month, a unit sold for $12.8 million. By June, the sale count had risen to 55 condos. 53 West 53rd didn't stop selling even when COVID brought the city to a grinding halt. By 2023, the tower had sold over 70% of its units. Today, it's approaching full occupancy. The fulfilled dream. The tower has earned the industry's highest honors. In 2020, Engineering News Record, the Bible of the industry, named 53 West 53rd its coveted project of the year. A year later, the Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat gave the tower its global stamp of approval with an award of excellence.
I gotta tell you, it's been overwhelming. I've been telling my grandchildren I built this place.
Boy, look what I did. everybody that's involved, and that's a wonderful feeling.
We have an initial project. We kept the spirit of this project. Of course, the building stays with a strong character, but we cannot forget what it could be.
What do you think? Is 53 West 53 a wonderful addition to the New York skyline, or is it just another vanity project for the billionaires of New York? Let us know in the comments below. Behind every great building is an even greater story. And at Houzeo, we're here to bring you every one of them. Like, share, and subscribe. The next story's just around the corner.